I was 6 years old when my teachers, they went to my parents and they said, "We think there's something wrong with your son. He's falling behind the other kids. He can't stay focused. He's not getting anything done. We're concerned he might be a little bit slow." And so they tested me, and I wasn't slow, but I did come back with a diagnosis of ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And from that moment on, for the next 10 years of my life, I was on Ritalin. Now, Ritalin for most people serves as an attention focusing accelerant. It helps you stay up all night if you need to study for a test the next day. But for somebody with ADHD, the way to think about this is that our systems are operating at a higher RPM. And so that drug, it actually spikes our system, and our internal governor resets us. And it puts us into this zombie-like focused state. And this state is very interesting because a lot of people think people with ADHD can't focus. And that's not true. ADHD means that we can't always control what we're focused on. But when we are focused, when we're interested in something, we go into what's known as a hyper-focused state. And in the hyper-focused state, it's a lot like the flow state or being in the zone where time just disappears. Our sense of self disappears, and we're operating this higher wavelength, and things are just clicking, and we're performing at our best. But hyperfocus can be a real problem for people with ADHD because they can't control it. They can't get into it willingly, and they can't always get out of it willingly. And this is why people with ADHD, they might play video games while the house literally burns down around them. And so for the next 10 years of my life, I spent just trapped by Ritalin in this hyper-focused state. And I hated it. I hated it with every ounce of my being. So when I finally had the chance of getting off Ritalin, I told myself I would never go on drugs again. But the thing was, I had no system for coping in the world at that point. I was a kid with ADHD. I was 16 years old. And I didn't have systems, processes, or habits or anything. I didn't have any way of accessing this hyper-focused state of mind by intention. And so for the next 10 years, I really struggled. I struggled in my relationships. I struggled in school, was getting really bad, terrible, horrible grades. And I was getting fired from every job I ever had. And along the way, I knew that if I could just tap in to that hyper-focused state, if I could use that to my advantage, that I could accomplish so much more than what I was doing at that point. And so I went on a search. I went studying everything that I could about hyper-focus and about the flow state, and just absorbing and trying to implement systems and processes and habits and routines that could help me harness the potential inside. Now, what I'm going to share with you over the coming videos is how exactly I've done that. It wasn't easy. A lot of the things that I tried failed, but a few things did work. And I kept stacking those very few things until I got to this place in my life where I look back and I was like, I've accomplished a lot. I've done a lot now at this point. And I want to share that with you. I want to share this framework because regardless of whether you have ADHD or you're just somebody out there trying to maximize their potential, I think we all struggle with distraction. I think we all know inside of us that we have greatness, that there's potential. If we could just tap into it and unlock it, then we could accomplish amazing things. And what we know about the flow state is that when we're in this state, we are 500% more productive than when we're outside of this state. The being in this state is linked with higher levels of life satisfaction. It leads to 300% increase in creativity. And creativity, as I see it, is the most important skill set in the modern workforce, which isn't just my claim. This is actually coming from a study that IBM did of thousands of CEOs. They said, what's the most important skill set in the modern workforce? They said creativity. Now, I'm not talking about the ability to paint or to draw or to sing. That's artistic creativity. The way I define creativity is the ability to take two or more pieces of information and connect them in new, interesting, novel, functional ways. And when we look at it through that lens, we can see why people who are creative and able to connect and make ideas and see opportunities where others just see difficulties, why they rise to the top of their fields, why they are the most successful entrepreneurs. And that's what I want to help you guys do, is to take the lessons that I've learned about hyperfocus and flow and how to implement these into your life so that you can maximize your return on life. All right, and so that's going to do it for me, guys. I am Anthony Vicino, a best-selling author, a serial entrepreneur, and a real estate investor who's on a mission to help 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs scale better businesses, diversify their income, and amplify their impact. I'll see you in the next video.